And we're live. Hi everyone, it's Matt B's Movies, hosting the chat this week in conjunction with AJ.
Hello everyone.
Hello. And we've got some special guests on this week. So if we can go around the room and introduce yourself, please. And we'll start with that side and then move round. Over to you, Ian.
Hello everyone. It's nice to be here. My channel's called Ian Hill The Ramblings, and it's me just rambling away about films and collecting and music sometimes, and I'm just into nostalgia and everything. I'm just passionate about what I like. I tend to be positive. That's what I'm trying to be. If there's anything I don't like, I don't tend to review it. So that's it. That's it.
What's your main interest in? What's your main genres that you like of film?
As I like horror, sci-fi, fantasy, but I like other stuff as well. I like really a lot of stuff, and collecting. As I say, I've always been a collector since I was a child. I've had to stop a lot of that now because it just gets out of hand. But
yeah,
that's it, really.
You're a big Star Trek fan, aren't you?
Star Trek, Doctor Who, yeah, Hammer horror. I'm into Hammer horror quite a lot.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of these, a lot of sort of reviews of films. You did one last night, didn't you?
It was Twins of Evil.
Yeah,
Twins
I started
of Evil.
to watch it, and I'll catch up on that one. Okay, well, thanks for introducing yourself, and then let's go over to Dan at Oceans Reviews. Okay, Tell us a little bit about your channel and what you like.
Sure. Well, yeah, Oceans Reviews. That's my channel name. I'm based in Australia. Pretty much, really, my channel is just about movies, essentially movie reviews, movie collecting, Blu-rays, all that sort of stuff. Pretty similar to the other guys here on the table here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I'm just pretty much a movie channel. Love my movies. Yeah.
Any particular ones that you really gravitate towards, sort of science fiction, action?
Oh, genre-wise, I think as of recently, I don't know, like horror. Yeah, okay. At least going into this Halloween season, I'll be watching a lot more horror movies. As of recently. But I like pretty much anything, really anything. Yeah, I dabble in pretty much everything. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, and over to you, Trevor. If you'd just like to sort of tell us a little bit about your channel and sort of what films, genres you like, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, morning everyone. So my channel is basically about originals and their remakes. I got fed up with watching a film thinking, a nice original movie, only to find that 30, 40, 50 years before there had been an original. But I also used to work in the industry making all these lovely discs, so I kind of put some information on my channel about all that. Movie wise, I've got to see so many clearly in my job, but I tend to gravitate towards horror and sci-fi. But like Dan just said, with October coming up, let's get on with the horror films.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. And finally, AJ.
Hi everyone. Yes. So, what do you want to know? My channel's about films, comics, collectibles, TV reviews, everything. I'm not, beyond people know me to having a controversial opinion on stuff. I like upsetting people. Well, I don't like upsetting people, but I tend to with some of my views. But there we go. So all good. And yeah, it's great to be back again, Matt. I enjoy doing these every week. I like to say take a back seat. I like the format that we have because obviously we go from Matt's channel to my channel to Matt's channel to mine. And it's nice to be able to sit back and let you just host it all and read all them comments. And it's pretty tiring, actually. But
yeah, it is. Yeah. But it's good fun. I do enjoy it.
It is.
Yeah. Right, well, we've got some comments, so let's get a few comments up. So we've got Clark Teddles. Hello, hope you're all well. He's got his cup of tea and he's excited for the stream, so welcome. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Clark.
Hello, Clark.
And then you've just responded to Clark.
Yeah, so what's going on? If you see me looking away like that, it's because because of the sound issues on my computer, I've got the comments there. So I'm sort of watching it at the same time as doing it. Because I can't see the comments on this tablet. So, so I've got, there we go.
Okay. So we got Ash from Popcorn and Horror.
Hi,
hello.
Ash.
Hi, Ash.
Morning,
Thanks
Ash.
for joining the stream. And then we've got Mervilla. Is that somebody you know, Ian?
Yes, it is. Yeah, somebody, a friend of mine.
Okay, cool. Welcome.
Good.
Thank you for joining.
Ian's bringing people over. Ian
From Philippines.
April.
From the Philippines.
We've got Stephen Luther from stateside, from America.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
Hello.
He's been
Morning,
been a long time commenter on my videos. I think he was there when I first started. Yeah, he's good guy.
He's out in California, isn't he?
He is.
So we go worldwide. We go worldwide on these streams.
Was it
one side of the world to the other.
Wait, was it Sacramento? Is that where he was?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And we got Michael from Ireland. Michael's Movie Corner. Morning.
Who's been on a few times and will no doubt be on again in the near future.
He enjoys. He's a big Star Trek fan as well.
Hello, Michael.
And we've also got a lady called Angelica Castro. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Hello.
We've got Stephen saying yes, Sacramento, correct.
Good.
So that's the end of the comments. So I think we'll just sort of kick it off as to we'll go around the sort of room and sort of what recent films have you been watching or TV shows. Start with you, Ian.
Well, my big thing this week is I managed to watch all of the 10 episodes of Star Trek Strange New World.
Okay.
I've been really behind. To be honest, you might have guessed sometimes with some of my comments, I've been getting a bit of Star Trek fatigue.
Right, yeah.
But suddenly I watched this series and I think it's fantastic. It's the best thing I've seen for a long time from Star Trek. It is so good. I binged the episodes. I just couldn't stop watching it. It's exciting. It's really good. I mean, I know you've said it all before, and I'm really glad I was able to get to see those 10 episodes. Absolutely fantastic. I'm just so excited I was, watching them. It just shows you what can be done, doesn't it, with Star Trek still. It gives you hope. I was getting a bit just fed up with it all too much, Though, to be fair, like these re-releases of the films, that have come out, it's like I saw the motion picture again, and I really enjoyed that. So that gave me sort of, but just seeing this, it makes me want to watch the original series again as well. I definitely would. It's due for another run of the original series, definitely. So in films, it's what I've reviewed really. The Twins of Evil I watched again. Oh, and Straw Dogs, which I've got a big thing about Straw Dogs. I did a review of that, which I really enjoy. I suppose they're the two things I've watched really. Oh, and I've got a bargain through post. I got Black Mirror Series 4 for about £1, and that has got this USS Callister on, which is like where they go into like this games machine thing, but it's like a Star Trek world. and
Yeah, I've seen that.
it's really good. It's really good story on that. That's in 4th series. So that's it really.
That was
Don't
the
miss
episode
it.
that brought me over to Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? For some reason,
It was very good. That
I noticed that 1 and 2 are not available on Blu-ray.
no
I don't know why. They're
DVD.
on DVD.
Yeah, because I got seasons 1 to 3 on DVD. I only know that 'cause
Ah, right.
that's recording. Recording for April. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a great series, Black Mirror, isn't it? It's a great series.
It is good, yeah.
We've got Gareth from Video Tasties. Hello, thank you for joining the stream.
Hi, Gareth.
Obviously,
Hello.
AJ and I
Hi.
are very lucky to be on his interview with Nicolas Meyer. That was fantastic, wasn't
I
it?
did see that. That was pretty cool.
It was
Yeah.
ever indebted to Gareth. That was something else.
Oh yeah, it was just I'd never ever imagined like coming on YouTube and being able to speak to the director of The Wrath of Khan. It's like, amazing opportunity. So yeah, really appreciate that. So over to you, Dan. What have you been watching this past sort of week?
Okay. So I've been getting through. Well, I've been keeping up with She-Hulk like every week, of course. And I watched the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor just this past like Friday. That's been really good. I think great Star Wars show so far. I think it could be a solid contender. I think for the Mandalorian, like in terms of like quality. Movie wise, I've started like a new sort of segment on my channel where I'm sort of reviewing movies from a certain actor.
Okay.
So I've been watching a lot of Nicolas Cage movies and reviewing them. So I watched Peggy Sue Got Married. I've got a few here. Like Guarding Tess, a few of his older things. And I'm just like going back and reviewing those. But yeah, that's about it. I watched The Godfather as well. That was really good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I watched The Godfather. That's about it, really. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then over to you, Trevor. What have you been watching last week?
Yeah, so the last film I actually watched was Pulp Fiction. Funnily enough, Clark did another projection booth video where he watched them lacing up 35mm of Pulp Fiction, and I've got the lovely briefcase box set, and I thought, well, I'm going to get that out and watch that, so I did. But I've also watched Exodus, God and Kings, which I thought was a really good film. Kind of a remake to the Ten Commandments, really. So I might have to get myself a copy of the Ten Commandments and do a double bill on that. I watched a film called Champion with Kirk Douglas from 1949, the boxing movie. So all these old actors done a boxing movie at some point in their career. And that was really good. We've watched so many films and you sort of think you know the formula, and I sat there for some reason trying to guess what was going to happen, but every time I was wrong, and I was really like, wow, okay, this movie's got me guessing all the time for a film that's so old. And I've had a couple of video nasties in there. I too am about to start a bit of a series in conjunction with another channel called Bumpers Movies.
Bumper,
yeah, called the 39. So that's about 39 category 1 video nasties, which of course are only video nasties in the UK. Everywhere else in the world, they're just movies. So Axe was one of those. What else? Blood Feast, and a few others. But series wise, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I haven't got round to watching any of the Andor. I have not seen the Obi-Wan series yet. I kind of plan to binge watch that with a mate at some point. But there's so many series, so many films. It's hard to keep up, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what I think a lot of us are finding, that there's so much content. It's where do you start sometimes, you know?
Yeah. But as you mentioned, talking to the director of Wrath of Khan, I saw that as a kid and scared the crap out of me when they put the bugs in the helmet.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. Yeah, a great film.
Yeah, but it was fantastic film. I watched it then up the same night we'd had the interview. I thought, oh, I'm putting this on now. Yeah, it was just brilliant. I still love it.
It's a very good film.
Right, so over to AJ. What have you been watching this week?
All right, well, I've literally just in the next 30 seconds or so, a minute, I'll be posting my review for the new animated Mortal Kombat film, Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I'm not up on Mortal Kombat in the sense of the games or that, so a lot of the characters would have gone over my head, but as a film, as a standalone sort of Mortal Kombat film, I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. I revisited The Mummy last week. Brendan Fraser one. Had nothing to do, so just threw on film, which is a decent film. But I'm watching and revisiting Star Trek Deep Space Nine at the moment. Now, about 5 episodes in, that's all, but I haven't seen it. I haven't revisited Star Trek Deep Space Nine for over a decade. And it's just, wow. It's, you know, knowing what you know by the end of it and the characters, it's great to see these, you know, even in those first episodes, sort of certain seeds being sown for these characters and the way that their relationships will progress. And, which is quite not ironic, but obviously Thingy's just died. Got an announcement this morning that Louise Fletcher died, who was the nurse in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And she was in 14 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine as Kai Wynn. Yeah, and she just passed away. Just got news of that passing literally this morning on looking on the internet. It came up with a thing about Star Trek Deep Space Nine actor passes away, and I'm thinking, because obviously I think Rene Auberjonois died, didn't he? Odo. I think he passed away. And I think, who is it now? Because I was thinking it was one of the primary cast, but no, it was Louise Fletcher, which is a shame. She was really good. She was really good in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That role that she played in that just sort of sticks with me. You know, she was so nasty as that nurse, but. There we go. Great film. Great film, that one. But yeah, so that's it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm reviewing Deep Space Nine. I don't get many views on it, obviously, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go through them all and review every episode. Yeah. If not just for myself.
Go for it.
It's a nice revisit. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Cool. And I've been watching, I did watch 2.5 episodes of Andor. The first episode, I have to admit, it didn't grab me. But the second episode, I thought, this has got potential. And then the third episode, I got halfway through it. It was quite late at night, and I was so tired, and I just had to think, I'm going to have to come back to this. And I haven't got finished it yet. But yeah, it's definitely got potential. It's more of an adult Star Wars. To me, it feels more. It's made for sort of our age group, mid-30s, not for children. This one, it feels, it's definitely more of an adult feel to it. So, and obviously it's more espionage, that kind of thing. That's my take on it. So there's that, and I've just been sort of catching up on my Supergirl season 6. I'm about 2 episodes away from the end of that now. And this last sort of season, it's not been the best. I think it's right time for that series to finish now. In terms of films, nothing really that I've watched this week, to be honest. I think I've just been focusing on TV stuff and a few other bits and pieces, but yeah. That's from me, really. But I'm going to get into the comments because there's quite a few comments coming in. So, we've got Michael So he's watching in bed with his cat. We've got another Susie.
Susie Q.
Susie Q.
Yeah,
Morning, guys. Thank you for joining.
Morning.
We've got Danny from This Is My Life. Morning, Danny. Thanks for
Morning,
joining.
Morning, Dan.
Hello.
And he's picked up the original series Steelbook. I think that he's referring to Star Trek there, I think.
He is, yeah. It's a nice set. I think you got it for about 40 quid. I think. Or was it? Yeah, 40 something quid, 45 quid something. It's a nice set.
Cool. We've got Clark Tiddles. So he says, was planning to see Fight Club at the Ritz Cinema last night, but plans changed. Ended up watching Superman 1978. Such a great soundtrack. Absolutely. Fantastic film.
Well, given the choice, I'd have been into Superman instead of Fight Club.
That's my hero, Clark. Great film.
Great. Yeah.
I mean, I think Henry Cavill has been fantastic, in my opinion. But, yeah, Christopher Reeve is always, well, for many of us, he's our Superman, isn't he? He was the first guy to bring it to the big screen.
You don't see Christopher Reeve, do you? You only see Superman.
You do, yeah. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. I feel like a kid every time I watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, such a tragedy, really, that, what happened to him. Such a shame, but there we go. Stephen, AJ got to speak with the director of Bull Shark. There you go. So he's been chatting to directors.
Yeah, that's the geezer I upset.
Okay.
The director that, that's what he's on about. Yeah. Who, as you know, Matt, he did actually reply to me, and I didn't see the comment until now, 6 months later.
Oh, yeah. It wound up in your YouTube studio for some reason, yeah.
Yeah, it got, I don't know, way down, just never appeared till now. And as you know, I've invited him on the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some story behind this. What happened? I wasn't here for this.
Oh, well, I've done a review. He done. I like to visit shark films. Jaws is my favourite film of all time. One of my favourite films of all time. And I watched some of these really crappy shark films at the time. And one was a film called Bull Shark. And it was about a bull shark in a lake. And it gets there. How it gets there is in the story. And I'd done a review for it. Quite a scathing review because it's one of those cheap films. And there's elements of it that are lifted straight out of Jaws anyway, in characters, in, character dynamics with other people, with some of the situations. And I just slagged it off, and the director decided to come on my channel and start slagging me off for slagging his film off. And we had a little bit of a... back and forth. Not only did he slag me off, he slagged everyone else off, didn't he? Everyone that watched who subbed to me.
I've had a bit of a poke.
Yeah, oh, wow. and so and I responded in typical AJ fashion, which is a nice, decent response. Don't get me wrong, I'm not out of order. I don't get angry, but. And then I saw a message from him the other day that I hadn't seen for 6 months, and he said to me, I'll give you £20,000. You go and make a shark film, see if you can do it any better. And I said to him, hold on a minute, mate, I'm not in the film industry. I go, but what I certainly could do is help you out with your story element and point you in, what works and what doesn't work in a story context. Anyway, so I said to him, why don't you come onto the channel? We'll have a talk about your process. No hard feelings. I'll even give you a public apology for what I said about your film. Not that my opinion on the film changes in any way. I did say that, I think. Not that my opinion on the film has changed, but maybe how I voiced my disregard for the movie. And yeah, and there we go. So he wasn't a happy chappy. But there we go. And I think sorry?
Has he replied?
No, I haven't got a reply yet, no.
Oh, okay.
I was going to review his new film that's come up, Apocalypse Road, I think it's called, and it's available. It's on YouTube, actually. The whole thing's on YouTube. And I looked at it, and some of the scenes, you know, it looks like it's filmed. There's nothing cinematic about it at all. It looks like it's cheap, nasty.
If you've only got a 20 grand budget, why would you make a shark film?
I don't know. I think it's the studios wanting it and saying here's 20 grand, go and do. Because I know that someone else. I was talking to another director, wasn't I, Matt? Remember the other geezer who came in?
Yeah.
And they said to him, "We'll, you know, you can pretty much do any film you want, but it's got to have a shark in it. So here's X amount of money. Go do any film you want to make, but there must be a shark in it so we can advertise it as a shark film. Because shark films, you know, generally make a bit of money. So yeah, it was just I don't know, but he wrote it as well. He wrote the film as well. That's the thing. He wrote and directed it, and he's very proud of it. And I you know, Matt, you've got my mate in. Oh no, let's get to them comments. He's obviously changed up a name again.
Okay.
Because he's using
We'll
his
get
word.
to eventually.
Yeah, he's using
Let's
his
give
word
the
of the day,
people-
hypocrite.
Yeah, we'll give the people a chance first.
And I will answer his questions. Let's be fair to him. But yeah, go on. That's it.
Okay. We'll get through the comments. We've got Video Tasty says cheers. Danny's saying hi, Video Tasties. There we go. So Ash is saying, have you any of you watched The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage? I watched a couple of nights ago and was surprised to see how funny it was. So yeah, anyone watched it?
Yeah, no, I watched it. It's really good. It's sort of like surprising. Like you just, I don't know, it felt good. Like something, I feel like it's the best sort of project that Nicolas Cage has been in for a while. But yeah, it was surprisingly funny. Got a few laughs out of that one. Enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah.
It does look good. And I'll probably get to watch it one day. It's just, as Dan just said, it's right up Nicolas Cage's street, isn't it? It's him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do a film about yourself? Excuse me. Why wouldn't you do a film about yourself? Especially with his career. I mean, it's been a great career, but he's done a bit of tap, but don't they all? But no, I'll get round to watching it one day and probably have a good laugh with it.
Obviously, you've watched it, AJ, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a very good film. I did enjoy it. I like it when an actor can send himself up, you know, and he does send himself up in that. And he's got great chemistry with Pedro Pascal as well. They play off of each other very well.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, enjoyable film.
I did put it on, but my wife wasn't impressed. She said, "Oh, I don't want to watch this." So, okay, I'll have to watch this on my own. So I haven't got round to it yet, but yeah. How about you, Ian? Have you watched it at all?
No, I want to watch it, definitely. He's great as Nicolas Cage, you know. It's just such a great career, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah.
You just can't help but love him, really. Even when he's bad, he's good.
He's good, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's carry on. And we've got Jim Jam Movies and TV in here. Hello, thanks for joining the stream.
Morning.
Morning, James. Hope you're well.
And he's asking a question. What movie would you like to see get an Arrow release?
Wow.
You want to start, Trevor?
Well, I think I've asked them to pick up The Ghost in the Darkness, Paramount movie, actually, with Kirk Douglas and Val Kilmer. And it's based on a true story. I remember seeing it at the cinema, and the sheer volume and the size of the screen, it was one of these big Warner Brothers screens. The lions roaring in your face, full screen, was like, whoa, okay. There aren't many. I think there's a couple of countries have a Blu-ray of it. I only have it on DVD, and it's such a brilliant film. So yeah, I would like them to pick that up if they could.
Cool. What about you, Dan?
Well, I don't know. Arrow releases aren't really readily available here in Australia, but
Oh, okay.
I don't really know too much about like the boutique labels like that are available. And we've got like sort of our own ones here in Australia.
You've got Indicator, haven't you? Is it Indicator?
We've got
Imprint.
Imprint.
Sorry, yeah.
They're pretty good. A lot of people seem to like Imprint. And I've got they've got well, here we've got Umbrella Entertainment as well. So they pick up a lot of films. But no, I looked at a few Arrow releases to pick up. I really like that that Thief one with James Caan in it. That looks really nice. There's one with him in it called Rollerball, I think. Yeah, he's in that as well. Looks really nice, some of their stuff. But it's only available on like Amazon UK, to get that sort of stuff here in Australia. So
does Zavi, do they ship to Australia?
We have Zavi here, but they like it's like Zavi AU, but they import like the UK versions to us. So it's pretty much like easier just to go through like Amazon UK anyway, because it's just like quicker. I think Zavi's a bit like ridiculous with their shipping times. I think it would take like more than a month. Amazon is like a couple weeks.
Even from Australia, for the sort of, they've got their own base out there.
Yeah,
Still
they've got like their own thing, but they order in UK products, like UK media.
Because I think they've got a hand in Arrow, haven't they? I think Zavi have some sort of percentage share in that company now.
It's the Hut Group. The Hut Group owns Zavi. I suppose that's why Zavi started to do all the exclusive steelbooks that were Arrow titles, but Zavi exclusive steelbooks. That was definitely the start of it. And yeah, one hopes that they're not involving themselves too much with Arrow's work, because Arrow were already doing an amazing job with their label, and it was growing and growing, and now it seems to be faltering a little bit, but fingers crossed.
Yep. What about you, Ian? Anything you'd like to see on the Arrow label?
Well, actually, what strikes me is the film I reviewed this week, because it's a film that's followed me around a lot, is Straw Dogs. I think it would be a perfect Arrow release because it was controversial at the time. It's Peckinpah, and it's in. I just think they could do a lot, certainly, of looking at that film, and I'd love to see that. Yeah, because I really love Straw Dogs. I think it's a great underrated film. Yeah. More people ought to talk about it because at its time, 1971. It's like an early house invasion film, what we call horror now genre, and then it was just psychological thriller. But it's so good, it really is. It's the way it's put together, and Cornwall and everything about it, just great. So that would be nice to see that. It would, definitely.
Cool. What about you, AJ? Anything you'd like to see a Arrow?
That's a tough one, really. I always said that I'd like to see, not necessarily Arrow or someone, but a premium release of something. I always said Judge Dredd, the Sylvester Stallone one, but on my previous watch, my opinion on it changed. I had a change of mind on the film. Although I'd like to see, not that you'd ever get it because it's Disney, but I'd like to see a proper release of Dick Tracy, something done with that. But Disney has the rights. Warren Beatty still owns the rights to Dick Tracy. But I think that if that was put through the process of 4K and whatnot, it would look wonderful.
Yeah. Film I'd like to see, certainly a 4K release of, but Arrow would be great if they could do like a special edition of it, is the remake of Solaris with George Clooney. I love that film. That's fantastic. Really enjoyed that when it first came out. I've got like a limited edition DVD with a slip box, and you can get like a media book from Germany just on Blu-ray And there's like Digipack. I've got the Digipack version, Germany, but yeah, a 4K of that I think would look fantastic because of all the visuals, you know.
That's a 20th Century Fox title, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. So yeah, that would be a no, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I have to make do with that German Blu-ray then.
Yeah,
but,
it's a very good film though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah. All right, here we go. So we've got Gareth. Any Muppet fans? Well, we all like the Muppets.
I think I used to like Fraggles more.
Yeah?
Yeah, Fraggle Rock. I think I preferred that over the Muppets.
Oh, okay.
But of course, being a drummer, I like Animal.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, I used to like the old guys. You know, the two. The old,
oh yes,
Matt, me and AJ.
Matt, sorry, mate. I was. Can I ask you to just go and delete this geezer?
All right.
You'll see who it is. I was willing to entertain him, but he started on other people in the chat.
Oh, right.
And you know, if he wants to start
Australia
on
and pasta, is it?
Yeah, it's the same fella who you've I warned you on this morning.
Okay.
Was fine with him taking it on me, but the minute he's turning comments on other people, then I was willing to answer some of his questions.
No, we're not interested in that sort of thing.
No, so the minute he starts on someone else, have him gone. Sorry, mate. Yeah. Sorry, people. It's just someone who he watches everything I do, but then likes to slag me off.
Yeah.
But don't watch. You don't like it.
No. Don't mind like sort of good conversation, but when it starts getting silly, no, we're not really interested in that sort of thing.
No. Like I said, with me, I can handle it, but I'm not having him going in on other people.
No, we just want a good conversation, you know.
Talking about the Muppets, someone shared a picture yesterday of Kermit the Frog, but as a xenomorph. So he had the long alien head, and then Kermit's face was coming out of the mouth.
Cool.
It's hilarious. I said, Miss Piggy's in trouble now.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Dan? Did you ever watch the Muppets? Or was that
not really? I think I watched one of the Muppets movies.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one. I think it was like one of the Christmas like versions of the movies. Not really too sure. Yeah. Never really got too interested in it. But
I mean, it was very much just the TV series sort of the 70s, wasn't it? You know, and each week you used to have a guest star, and you know, I used to love it when I was young. But how about you, Ian? You can remember the Muppets?
Oh yeah. I think of my dad. My dad used to just sit there laughing and getting really excited about the Muppets. So you're right about the special guests. All these special guests that used to come on were great, wasn't it? They're quite big names as well, weren't they?
They were, yeah. You know? Oh yeah, they got famous people on every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Loved it, yeah. And the two old gits. You can't let them beat them.
Sitting there moaning away,
I love them,
I suppose the concept of the Muppets was like a precursor to Yoda, wasn't it? Because
it was Frank Oz. Yeah, Frank Oz. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was they'd done all the puppets and everything, didn't they? So brilliant stuff.
Obviously, like weird green characters.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my life. He's talking about any more plans for famous Star Trek people on Video Tasty channel. Well, that'd be great, you know, if he can get other people on. I tell you, I was looking at the other day, AJ, Jerry Ryan. I was looking on her Instagram and I thought, should I message her?
Why didn't you?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
What could she say? Get lost.
No, I didn't. But I suppose. I mean, I'm guessing maybe that's the way he's gone about it. He's gone to a fan website, or he's obviously somehow got in contact with Nicolas Meyer, and he's obviously kindly given an hour or two of his time. But yeah. So, do you think there would be a futuristic Star Trek series set in the 31st century, as they did have a couple of episodes where they visited it? What do you think about that?
What century is Discovery's now set in? I don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
I'm not enjoying Discovery set in the future. It's not the future of. Do you know what I mean? It don't feel like the same future that it would have been if Next Generation had carried on sometime into the future under the same makers. It just feels. I don't know. So.
I don't know. I gave up with Discovery. This wasn't for me. But
what about you, Ian? You're Star Trekky.
Do you know? I was thinking the other day. Do you know why Discovery got off to such, I think, negative reaction? It was the Klingons, wasn't it? I mean, in that first season, when we saw how they changed the Klingons, you just felt, I don't know, it just seemed removed from Star Trek. They didn't even see any continuity in it, did they? Because I loved the Next Generation Klingons, and it just, I don't know, it just started off wrong already on that sort of footing, and it was a shame. But no, I don't think we need any of the series as in future, to be honest. I'm so happy with Strange New Worlds that's it, for me.
Quality rather than quantity, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. They're already talking about more series in development.
Yeah, I know.
We don't need any more. We really don't. I know I'm going off again, but we don't need any more. Oh.
Totally agree. The last Star Trek stuff I watched was season 1 of Picard. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was good. So at some point I'll try and get on season 2. And are they on 3 now? How far are they?
3's coming out.
Next 3's due now, isn't it? Soon, I think, probably, isn't it? Yeah. The last one, they've already done it, and it's in the can. Yeah,
I think, for me personally, season 2, I mean, I don't want to sort of spoil it for you, but certain things they've done which don't necessarily agree with, but if you enjoyed season 1, I'd say season 2 is better in a lot of ways, but certain things that they've done, you think, maybe I wouldn't have done that, but there we go. Right, so got loads of comments coming in here. Okay, so this is a mate of mine. He says, "Hi everyone, what is your best movie for sound that you found impressive?" There we go. Want to start, Trevor?
No, someone else start. I need to think.
Okay. All right, who wants to go first? There we go.
I'll jump. I'll say one. Even though I only listen for a sound bar, the one film that makes me want to upgrade to surround sound system is Blade Runner 2049. Yeah. Whenever I watch that on the sound bar, I'm like, I can tell that is going to be something special on.
I can remember going to see that in the cinema, and the bass on that was just, it literally felt like my stomach was, my chest was like compressing in. Yeah. But I literally came out of that film and I had goosebumps coming out. It really kind of affected me because it was done in the sound and the picture was just amazing. It was just a standard, there was no IMAX or anything like that. It wasn't 3D. I was just amazed by the sound in the cinema. It was fantastic. So, what about you, Ian?
I'm thinking.
You still thinking?
Actually, the Blade Runner, maybe the original one, made such an impression as a film. Going to the cinema to see it, and just Vangelis's music.
Yeah.
Just hearing Vangelis's music just set the whole thing up, and that's an experience you never forget. You know, I'm not really a technical person, so I can't really talk too much about stuff like that. But just as an impression as a person, that really struck me. The original Blade Runner, definitely. I remember it, you know, definitely.
Do you have a sound bar?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got one and one of them speakers. Yeah, and it does make a difference, doesn't it? It does definitely. Yeah, it's great because I like music a lot, so I do play music, you know, through there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I would urge anyone, if they've got the budget to do it, to, you know, get the Atmos, because some of the titles are fantastic. They really are. I mean, I'm lucky to have the Atmos set up. Unfortunately, the room isn't really built for acoustics. You know, my dream would be to have a proper movie room where I could have the ceiling mounted speakers and all this. But, you know, I get Atmos effects. But the sort of even 7.1, you get the left and right separation, stuff on the back. It's fantastic. It just, for me, half the film is sound, half the film is picture, the other half is sound, because it just immerses you into that whole world. So yeah. What about you, Dan?
I don't know. I'd say like the last film I remember going to see that blew me away for sound would have been like The Dark Knight. Definitely seeing that in the cinemas for the first time. Really, any of the Batman films, like Batman Begins is really good. The Dark Knight Rises. I think those films, I definitely use those as like a benchmark for when I, you know, eventually do upgrade to 4K. I think those are the movies I probably get first. Yeah, I know, just because they're really cool, you know, sound and like screen, like, you know, quality wise, I think. Yeah. Yeah, The Dark Knight.
Cool.
So,
I think,
I mean, there's been so many, and I have to say I'm addicted to sound. Be a musician, I like recording sound and that sort of thing. So, and, you know, my job, we had 7 rooms that had 7.1 surround sound in for doing our job, and so of course I have a very similar setup at home, and so Saving Private Ryan, the beginning of that, the sound design on that is just phenomenal. And also Pearl Harbor, the opening, well, not the opening sequence, but once the attack finally starts, that's got some incredible sound design in it. A lot of horror films tend to sort of, I've found, the modern ones anyway, concentrate even more on the sound than most other big budget movies do. So like the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I feel like my ears have had a good sort of not beating, but yeah, they've enjoyed what they've heard, and I find that after the film, I hear a lot more around my own environment, and you just become very attuned to it. So it makes you realize how, although you've been watching the film, how attuned to what the sound's doing. But yeah, I mean, I don't have obviously Atmos yet. I would love to. I've seen a couple of films in the cinema that had it, but I wasn't impressed. So I'll put that down to the cinema, not necessarily the movie. I definitely found for years my home experience was far better than going to the cinema. But these sound bars are definitely improving, and especially if you've got a subwoofer attached to them, that's really important. So,
I mean, I think what puts a lot of people off is all of the wires and everything. But yeah, certainly now you can buy. I mean, they're not cheap, but you can buy the rearless speakers. You know, they're all just Bluetooth and all this sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely becoming more sort of user friendly, I suppose. You know, for the layman, a lot of people. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've got an amplifier, so I've got all these things plugged in, but even that took me a while to work out what goes where and all the rest of it, you know. And usually the wife's like, you don't need all this stuff. I'll have to hide it away in the little room at the back.
Yeah.
But
I used to maintain the systems at work, so I was often being called into a different suite to fix something on the sound or whatever it was. But yeah, I enjoy that sort of thing. It can be quite laborious when you first set it up, but when you start tuning it and you start hearing things how they're supposed to be heard, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, just adds a very different dimension to movies, especially with the 4K. Now you've got this big, amazing quality picture. You kind of need the sound to go with it.
So you have the room. So you used to work, or do you still work on sort of production of certainly DVDs that you did, wasn't it? Do you still do that line of work now? Or?
I have a freelance hand in it now. I've got one client that I do some work for. I can't tell you, I'm afraid.
No.
Or I'll have to kill you. No. But no, when I went to Pinewood, we had all the big studios, Paramount, Universal, Buena Vista, which is obviously all the Disney and Miramax, and we had some Lionsgate and Studio Canal. The only one we didn't have was 20th Century Fox. So when I started the job, it was prior to Star Wars coming out on Blu-ray. So I was a little disappointed that I wasn't going to get to watch Star Wars on Blu-ray before everyone else. But I did get to see all the James Bond films on Blu-ray before you lot did.
Wow.
And we were blown away by the picture quality. So imagine if they come out on 4K, I'd be blown away again. But yeah, that job, that was called quality assurance. So basically we got the disc that you lot have, and I have, but just without the print and without the box. So it would just be what we call a check disc. And we would put it through its paces. We do all sorts of things that we don't do at home, just to make sure that it worked. So that if you did do something funny, the disc didn't trip up. Basically, we tried to break the disc, and any faults would get reported back. But then the job at Sony was the earlier step, was the actual quality control. And I've got a series on my channel, so if people want to know more, then go to my channel and look up how physical media is made.
Yep. Yeah, please go and check out check out everyone's channel. I'm not big on how to put links to things on YouTube. I haven't worked that out yet, but yeah, obviously everyone's names up here. Yeah, brilliant. Right, I'm just going to get on with some comments because we've still got quite a lot to get through. Danny says, I'm buying the Harry Potter Steelbook collection. Cool.
Nice.
We've got Forgotten World of Movies here. Hello. Thanks for joining.
Andy.
Teddle says, I think Umbrella Entertainment sometimes makes a huge cash grab releases. I was thinking of making a video about their terrible Child's Play Blu-ray, which had a DVD transfer, which they upscaled.
Yeah. Okay. No, I did see a lot about. I was actually thinking about buying that Child's Play edition. It has like this really nice cover art and this really nice slipcover. It looks awesome, but like I saw a lot of reviews about the actual quality of it, picture-wise. Apparently, it's just terrible. Like, yeah.
Go for it, Clark. That'd be an interesting video to watch.
Yeah, I'd love to watch that as well.
Cool. And he's just saying good morning.
Got a wasp in the room.
Oh no.
No. Okay.
My life. Yeah.
I'm putting in some links now, Matt.
Oh, brilliant.
But people might have to copy and paste them.
Okay.
get them
Cool.
as opposed to press on them. Do you know something? Whenever I search for Oceans Reviews, it's such a hard channel to find under the name.
Is it?
Loads of other stuff comes up. Yeah.
Really? I always find it really easy to find.
It's a capital O, isn't it? You use a capital O.
Yeah, capital O. Yeah, capital O R. Yeah.
So Danny says he's picked up the Mummy Steelbook DVD trilogy the other week. Cool.
Oh, that's the steel I've got. It's I think it's not. Yeah, it's decent steel, but I like them ones you've got, Matt.
Yeah, they were Italian. The Italian Amazon. I would have loved that Everything Blue edition. You know, well, there were two. They did the Book of the Dead, the black box set, and then there was it the Book of the Living, which was the white one.
Yeah,
both go for crazy money now on eBay, but yeah, very nice with containing those steelbooks. And we've got Pete from Playtendo guy on the stream. Hi Pete, thanks for joining.
Good morning, Pete.
Oh yeah. Right. They're just talking to each other. There we go. Okay, my mates again. Has anyone seen a film, A Cure for Wellness? Watched the clip and looked quite disturbing, although I am quite intrigued. What are your thoughts on this film if you've seen it? Has anyone seen it?
No, not heard of that one.
No.
I haven't either.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Oh yeah, they're choking away. What more movies? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we've got somebody else.
go on, put it up.
Another fan of yours, AJ.
Go on, put the question up.
It's got a lot of supporters.
AJ makes you cancel your pre-orders to snap them up. That's right, everyone. He's cottoned on to me. I don't want you to buy anything because I'm going to buy every single one of them that get released. Yes. Yeah. Okay. What that is that I, as you know, Matt, I've had a moan about the constant flux of special editions that we're getting. It's a massive amount. It's like an everyday thing, and that winds me up. Yes. The specials being taken out of special edition. But yeah, no, I buy them all. I buy every single unit and resell them. Yeah, that's what I do. So you can't get them. Anyway, move on. Next one.
Yeah, move on. Yeah. So Radley Stark says, hi, Matt and AJ. Don't know the other chaps need some links. Yeah, but AJ's trying to sort that out. Do you think Screen Factory will do a Halloween 4K set that includes all 8 of their transfers, including the new set coming out? Anyone any thoughts on that one?
I suspect they will. So the trend seems to be at the moment, test the water. And obviously they did do a box set in the US, didn't they? There's the first 4 or 5. And now they're releasing more. So then, yes, not so much a money grab. You know, we've all been collecting for years. We all know how it works. And so, yeah, I would hope so, because that's kind of what I'm waiting for. I haven't collected any of the new 4Ks, and I still have only ever seen Halloween. I want to see the Rob Zombie ones, actually. So I hope they include them if they do.
I think a lot of it comes down to the rights, doesn't it? Because different studios maybe did certain things. I don't know.
That's why it was such a big thing that they did the Friday the 13th box set that they did. Now, you'd think that I would say the success of that would garner having a 4K version. And you'd like to think that the studios involved would want a bite of the cherry, you know, as well. So we can hope.
Yeah. Cool. So Danny says, I'd like Strange New Worlds being released on physical media. Yeah, I think you've said that, haven't you, Ian? You'd like to get that on physical.
I can't wait. Yeah, I want that. Definitely.
It will be.
I think they will. I mean, obviously they've released Paramount Plus this year, but I mean, I had a 30-day free trial of that, and I wasn't that impressed with it. They've got a long way to go to get it up to what Disney is. There's no 4K on there. It didn't. They've got a long way if they want to go streaming. So hopefully they'll still keep physical releases going.
I'm sure they will. Yeah. There's no reason not for them to do it, really, is there?
No. Absolutely. So Steve says, Matt, any news from CX on the Blu-ray?
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, that's just ongoing at the moment. They asked for proof of postage, which I gave them, and it also had the weight of the package, which it had 2 Blu-rays in it, and I just don't understand why they took one out, but they're saying the other one wasn't received. But strangely enough, the one that wasn't received was the higher value for trading. Okay. So currently they're saying they're in discussion with the courier, who is Royal Mail. And I'm like, okay, so
right.
Not quite sure what Royal Mail's going to say about it, but I might pop down to the post office and just have a word with them and say, is there any compensation from this side? Because they're saying they've not received it, even though it was in the same envelope. But so still waiting on that one. Okay, so Danny's saying, what's the best 3D player to buy and TV? Well, I mean, 3D now obviously is kind of, from a manufacturing point of view, it's defunct. Now, whether there'll be a resurgence, obviously, with the new Avatar film coming out, and I do believe there's a re-release of Avatar, the first film, in cinemas at the moment. And they're showing it in this sort of 3D laser format. I was watching Big Paulie's video on it yesterday, and he went to see it in IMAX, and he said he was absolutely blown away with it. He said it was almost like seeing it for the first time. It'd be interesting to see whether I think it's a very niche sort of thing. I think when 3D is done right, it's mind-blowing, but I think everyone jumped on the bandwagon back in sort of 2010. People, I don't think they like wearing the glasses as well. I think that sort of puts people off. But I mean, on the second-hand market, to answer your question, Danny, I would say Sony for the 3D players. I mean, you can still get the Xbox One S has got 3D compatibility. A lot of Blu-ray players you'll find have 3D in them, even the 4K ones. But as far as TVs, it's very hit and miss because you got a lot of the ghosting stuff on the TVs. I mean, I've got an Optoma 3D and 4K projector. It's not the full 4K, but it does that lens split thing. So it gives you that 4K sort of image. But that's got 3D in it as well. Unfortunately, it's a second-hand market now for 3D. So anyone else like 3D?
Yeah, when I used to do my job, we had to test all these 3Ds before you guys got to see them. So yes, you're right. Sony is probably the best route to go. So you have 2 ways of doing it. You have the active glasses, so the glasses do the work. I think it was LG where the TV did the work. Now that would be more expensive, but if you don't want to have the heavy active glasses right in front of your eyes, then the LG where you just have a sort of polarized pair of like you get in the cinema and then you could use your cinema glasses basically, because it would be the
Yeah.
same concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, a PS3 should be 3D capable.
Yeah.
But I think Sony TVs, we used to have Panasonic plasmas. They weren't that great. It was a shame that Pioneer never did it. They stopped manufacturing TVs before it all sort of kicked off. But yeah, Sony's probably the way to go. And yeah, see what you can find.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you're into the VR stuff, if you're into gaming, I know certainly the first Sony headset that's got 3D. I think it's almost like you can put it on and you're in like a 3D cinema kind of thing. So yeah, that's another option if you're into that sort of stuff. But yeah. So. And he says he would love to see a steelbook collection of the Carry On movies. Oh, they were good. But were they filmed at Pinewood? Carry On filmed?
A lot of them, yes, I think they were. Yeah. I probably need to look at some, because my little series where I'm going to attempt to give you guys a tour of Pinewood through the movies. I would imagine a lot of the outdoor scenes were probably done in the gardens and everything. So I probably myself need to check them out and see if there's any more I can show you.
Oh, that's a really, really clever idea, that doing it that way. That yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's the only. I mean, I'd love to be able to take people around Pinewood. I'd love to be able to walk around Pinewood again myself, but of course I don't have a pass anymore, so I can't keep walking there. But essentially, apart from walking down regular roads, and there's buildings, offices, and then these massive buildings, which are the sound stages. The only one that's of any wow I'm standing next to is the 007 stage. And of course it has a massive sign on it. But the gardens, if anyone joins my little tour and has the movies that I've suggested, you'll be able to get an idea of what the gardens are like, because they've been used in lots of movies. And yeah, it's the only way I could think of giving you guys a look around Pinewood Studios.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Sort of kind of putting yourself in there.
Were you ever allowed to go into the 007 stage?
No, so my pass would allow me to walk anywhere except inside the sound stages.
Okay.
I remember walking past one and the big shutter doors were open and there was these bits of set and stuff in there. And it turned out that they were for the Thunderbirds movie
Wow.
with Bill Paxton. But one day I did walk around to the front entrance, the main entrance of the 007 stage. There wasn't really much in there. I mean, it was open. But there was another set I was stood by, which is going to be part of my tour. So I'm not saying anything here, but and it's, it was massive. And of course, I say every time it burnt down, they made it bigger. But it's amazing what they can hide. I spent every day there, well, except weekends, obviously. Johnny Depp was there. He shot, I think, 6 movies in the 7 years I was there. I never saw him once. But yes, I did turn up and suddenly think that wasn't there last week. Like a big church spire and covered in snow, thinking, wonder what film that is, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's an incredible place, but it's not like Disney World. It's not like Disney Studios or Universal Studios. That's why they don't do tours, because it's an active studio. And but yeah,
cool. I've got Pete. He says, "Have you guys checked out Andor? Thoughts on it?" Yeah, I mean, yeah. What's your thoughts on it, AJ? I don't think we got to you with that.
I'm glad they showed all the first 3 episodes together. Is what I'll say. Felt that No, it was good. I liked it. By the end of the third episode, I felt it was aesthetically, it was really, it was nice. Blade Runner-esque in that first episode, the opening. I liked the sort of not the Empire side of it, but that other group of like Imperial officer type things that they had. I thought that was good to see. But I felt that it was a lot of me watching Andor walk around looking over his shoulder for the first 2 episodes. Not much more than that. But the third episode is where all that comes together. So I understand why they've done those 3 episodes as a group. And what you could potentially have people lost interest if they didn't catch that third episode. On it. But as you know, because they've gone into this making it, I know their take on it was we're not making Star Wars. When they went in and made it, they looked at it as being something completely different, so to speak. But yeah, no, it was good. It captures that aesthetic, that Rogue One aesthetic, that feel that film had. And but the other thing I found very off-putting, being that this was primarily filmed over here in the UK, is all the English accents on everyone. I just found that to be, a bit.
Mind you, that I mean, even in the first Star Wars film, there were a lot of English accents, weren't there? You did have American as well, but
even like aliens talking, big hulking alien talks in some sort of Cockney accent.
That's what put me off at the beginning of The Mandalorian. I nearly didn't watch that series because he's talking to that alien right at the beginning with a thick Scottish accent. Now, nothing against the Scottish accent; it's beautiful, but it didn't quite work. That alien.
I know what you mean. I know. You get that here as well.
Hey, so we've got
Koro.
Koro says good afternoon.
Koro.
Yeah, Koro. Yeah, I don't know what. Obviously, the first part is can't read. Is it Chinese or Japanese? I'm not sure, but well, thanks for joining.
Hello, Koro.
Oh, yeah, and he's saying. Okay, that's my mate again. Says anyone seen Only Fools and Horses in Blu-ray? Wanted to watch with the kids. I've seen the odd iconic clip and found it funny. Classic comedy. It is indeed. Yep. So has anyone got that on Blu-ray? Do you know of Only Fools and Horses, Dan?
No.
Have you heard of that? No.
I know. I think weren't it the specials that got a 4K release as opposed to the series?
You mean Blu-ray?
No, a Blu-ray. Yeah, sorry, a Blu-ray release as opposed to the series. I know something did, but I'll be honest. I'm scared to watch it. I would be scared to buy it because it's one of those shows that I think they've already altered bits of it, haven't they?
Have they?
Edited stuff. I'm sure they have.
What? Because it's not politically correct.
Yeah, I'm sure. I might be wrong, but I'm sure that there was something that they'd done on some of the later DVDs. So that sort of element would always put me off picking it up. I do have them on DVD, and that's where it will remain because,
I'll never see Alf Garnett getting released on Blu-ray then.
Well, there you go.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Yeah, sorry. What were you saying, Trevor?
I think the Gold TV channel, well, here in the UK anyway, has all the Only Fools and Horses in HD. I think. I've seen them, and I was impressed how nice the picture looked. Again, it would be nice to own everything on Blu-ray, but I don't have time to rewatch them really. So,
no. TV series are a big commitment if you buy them on, physical. If you're buying them per season, it's a lot easier. But if you buy a big box set, that's a lot of time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great series.
I find it
absolutely.
Oh yeah, brilliant classic comedy. Back in the sort of 80s and 90s, you'd be getting like millions of people watching it. But does it work today? I don't know. Some of the humour does, but some of it, like you say, they've had to tinker around with it to become politically correct.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. Yeah, it still works. I think what let me say, Red Dwarf's an interesting one for me when it comes to British comedy, because obviously Red Dwarf was big in the 80s and whatnot, and then more recently you've had this series on Dave Channel, which weren't as well received. But from my perspective, the humour is all there. The humour's not changed in Red Dwarf. It's probably not as sharp as it was or anything like that, but the humour itself hasn't changed. What's changed is us as a viewer, and humour and comedy has changed. So Red Dwarf hasn't changed how it's ever done anything. It does it has how it used to do it, and that's why people say, "Oh, it ain't as funny as it used to be." It's not the show; it's actually in you. It's you and the humour that's changed around you that has. Do you know what I mean? And it's had this effect that you don't see it as being as funny anymore. That's my take on it, anyway. But they are still as humorous as what they used to be. Just maybe not a show. You know, it's just an older humour that. That's the problem with trying to remake it today, as it was. But the Only Fools and Horses, it's as funny as that. All that politically correct garbage, changing stuff. Society was what it was back then. Don't change it. You learn from it and you change and you become better people, you become a better society, and you don't do it anymore. But don't go and alter and try and pretend that a past didn't happen, didn't exist.
They should be like historic documents.
Do you think that Red Dwarf is just, we kind of got so used to it that, if you're a fan of it, that it's become predictable, and to me it's perhaps outstayed its welcome. It's like you even though you can love a series and really want it, you've got to come to a time where you say, well, that's it, you've got to stop. And I think Red Dwarf is like that. It doesn't quite feel like it did. It's not
but that's what I'm trying to say
anymore.
I think that's a change
I feel
more than a change in the show.
But it repeats a lot of the same ideas again, unfortunately. It does,
I think so. I mean, I have no issue with them doing...
I mean, it's nice. You can enjoy it. But there's so many things. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Fools and Horses. But from what I gather, that near the end outstayed its welcome as well, with all the specials as well. It's just people don't know when to stop quite often. But that isn't their fault. It's the fans, the fans, they always want more and more. And, you've got to come to a point where you say, look, that's it now. I mean, that's what I loved about Fawlty Towers. I mean, he just did those 2 seasons of Fawlty Towers, 2 series or something in America. But he knew that was it. I mean, it could have gone on, probably. Yeah, it could. But it's great when a series leaves you wanting more, whereas where a series ends and you think, oh, please end now. I think that's it. And they don't. They just carry on.
But
I think that's what people need to know. It's when to
what
stop.
big Australian comedy series have you got? I mean, obviously, we had, for us that aren't Australian, we had the Crocodile Dundee movies, so we know you can be funny. But so, what big series have you got?
I mean, there's a few big series, but I wouldn't say they're like comedy related. I don't know. I don't think we have too many comedy sort of related series here. Nothing that I can think of on top of my head, really. I mean, we were talking about like Neighbours a few weeks ago. You guys, that apparently was big in the UK, which I didn't know. But
and
yeah, all that. There's a show that's really good called Mr. In Between. I really liked that. That's like an Australian TV show, that one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really watch. There's a few Australian. There's actually there's a comedy movie that I really like. It's iconic, Australian, The Castle. It's amazing. Yeah, that one's really good. That's like a classic Australian comedy, that movie. But yeah, in terms of TV shows, I can't really think of too many. Yeah.
You've definitely got some great comedians. I've followed, is it Steve Hughes, the tall guy who used to have long hair?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Is it Steve Hughes? I know he lived in the UK for a long time. But he always came out on stage and was proud to have been Australian.
We've got Pete. He says, "What are your guys' thoughts on the series Firefly?" I know you've watched that, AJ. Anyone else watch Firefly?
No, I haven't watched Firefly.
Yeah.
I've only seen Serenity. That's is that
it
right?
never.
Yeah, that's the film of it.
Just got going, but it.
Yeah, it was.
You always felt that. Sorry.
No, go on in. You go first.
Yeah, it was typical of that period where you had executives of television who knew nothing about the programs that they had commissioned and didn't understand audiences and would never give a chance. And as soon as they looked at the ratings, they started messing about with the order that was showing it in. And it was doomed. It was doomed. And it was like, why invest all this money into a TV series and that is doomed to failure? It was crazy, and they never seem to learn from that, because you get so many series that they get ratings don't look good, and that's it. They don't give them a chance to develop anything, and it's sad. And Firefly was exactly a victim of that mentality.
It was. It only run for about 13 episodes, I think it was. 11 or 13 episodes.
That's it. Yeah.
It was a Joss Whedon series. Obviously, he'd done Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and went on to direct the Avengers. The MCU Avengers and the messed up Justice League film. But yeah, the show, like Ian said, it was a good show. It was a Western in space. It had great characters, great dynamic. Nathan Fillion, who's the main star, was fantastic in it. He's a great. He's got good screen presence, Nathan Fillion. It's a great series, but like Ian said, they messed around with the running order. They changed the nights it was on, I think, and no one knew where to find it. But this was Fox. This is a Fox production, and 20th Century Fox were notorious with. They didn't like sci-fi. They didn't like producing sci-fi. So there's so many Fox shows that would cancel. It sort of became a running joke.
Despite the fact they backed the biggest sci-fi movie thing on the planet, Star Wars.
Yeah. But I think even Family Guy had done a joke when, Peter Griffin reeled off a list, because Family Guy is also 20th Century Fox, and they had no qualms about digging at 20th Century Fox. And, I think he was watching a show or something, and he reeled off a list, and it just goes on and on and on of all these sort of shows that Fox had cancelled, and the list it's just massive. But yeah, Serenity is the film that comes after. They sort of gave it a cinematic a release of something that made a film to sort of tie it up in a bow, I suppose.
I enjoyed the film, but it didn't make me want to watch the series.
No, so. It's a shame. It was a shame. It had potential.
Okay, so Coro says, has anyone of you seen the RoboCop series? It was shown on TV in the 90s.
Yes. I actually have it on Blu-ray, a German release. I think it's recently been released in the United States on Blu-ray. and there's a cropped version and a standard. There's two versions of it. I don't know if one's DVD, one's Blu-ray, but one's cropped to give it a widescreen look, so you lose the top and bottom of the screen. It's a funny one, right? It's a funny one because it's a show that I know is bad. It is poor, but I enjoy it because RoboCop, for me, it's a one and done film. The RoboCop, it could never go beyond the first film because the structure of the story. Forget the fact it's about a robot police officer. It's essentially about a man who loses his identity and has to go onto a journey of rediscovery. And so by the end of the film, when Alex Murphy has become RoboCop, you're at the end of your story and you've pretty much got nowhere else to go story-wise with the character beyond you've got a policeman, so you can either go down a policeman robot, you can either go down the route of him fighting a bigger robot, which RoboCop 2 did, or take him down the police procedural route, which is what the TV show did. And I think that the police procedural route was the better element for it, to be honest. Obviously you lose all that stuff that made RoboCop special, you know, all the sort of digs at culture, you know, at corporate business and all that sort of stuff. That's all lost in it. But it's a poor TV show, but I've got sort of fond memories of it. I always think RoboCop should have continued. If I was to continue a story of RoboCop, it would have centered more around his wife and child. I would have made that the heart of the story because because you can then do something with character and play around with that and have RoboCop more as a sort of not a back character in his own film, but play around the element of her finding out or her discovery of him and what's happened to him and the effect it has on her and the child while putting them at risk or something. There's a better story there than what a sequel ever gave us. Sorry, little RoboCop rant there.
I'm gonna say something maybe a little controversial, but I actually enjoyed the remake. I know a lot of people didn't really think that was any good, but I quite liked it because it kind of focused a little bit more on the psychological side of what he was going through, and it did bring in the element of his wife and his son. Yeah, I think they could have probably it could have been done better, but I think the essence of what they were trying to do, you know, it was there. And I mean, you had a great cast. You had Michael Keaton in it. Samuel L. Jackson was there as well. It had all the elements to be a fantastic film, but yeah, I think there was something just fell short with it. I don't quite know what it was, but no, I actually quite enjoyed that.
I thought that I thought the remake was clever in that it reversed that, you know, you like went into the psychological, like you said, that it kind of twisted up what happened to him in that sense. So you're taking it from a different perspective from him, and a different story in that sense of the journey that he goes through of becoming RoboCop. I like that. The cast was great, but ultimately it's one of those, you know, the design was rubbish. I didn't like the new design. You've taken cinema perfection with RoboCop and the design of RoboCop. Same with Predator, and then you do other films and you tinkle with that design and you end up with something weaker. And it's that, why make a remake? Why make a remake of a film that is so beloved beyond the fact that you know it's an attempt to make money, it's brand recognition, right? And it's what I said about Star Trek. Why did Star Trek 2 remake Wrath of Khan? I'm talking about the new ones.
Oh, the Kelvin, yeah.
Try and make a film, you know, if you're going to try and remake a Star Trek film, take Star Trek 5 again and do something better with it. Why take a film that you know is adored and loved and you know you're never going to better it? You're just doing it for cash grab. That's all
I think their take on doing the new Star Trek as a parallel universe, I think, was a genius stroke. And having the connection with Spock to the original series, because you just sort of have to look at it and think, well, all that we know and love is happening here. and then all this new stuff is happening here. And there's that one bridge in Spock, and so I don't actually class them as remakes, so to speak. Of course, they sort of are, because they the same sort of names and the same characters and things, but they essentially can. Obviously, they've twisted a few of the story plots.
Yeah.
And I think, they can do what they like. They can make it as the same as they like or as different as they like. And it doesn't tread on the toes of the originals. And I think that was very, very clever.
No, it's a very clever marketing story trope that came about in the sort of 2010s. And I have said this before. If you take a look at Star Wars Force Awakens, Creed, Vacation, the National Lampoon's Vacation remake, Star Trek, Jurassic Park, they're all remakes. Every single one of them is a remake franchise, cleverly written and produced as a sequel. That's essentially what they are. What they've done, they figured that remakes weren't working. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a remake, essentially, because Creed is Rocky. Creed is the same story as Rocky. Jurassic World is the same story as Jurassic Park. Force Awakens, the same story as A New Hope. Vacation is the same story as National Lampoon's Vacation, just it's their kids, right, going out on his kids going out on a trip. So they clocked onto this idea of doing a remake, but wrapping it up as a sequel, and introduce a couple of elements or characters from the OG in there to carry it beyond. And Star Trek was very clever with the way it done that. I've got to admit, Star Trek, they thought about it. But yeah, it's essentially a remake, but it's a side sequel. But it was very, very clever psychological way of producing a remake.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked.
It's a great way to introduce it to a new audience.
Yeah.
When they do mention the original series and films and whatnot, and people are like, what are they talking about? And hopefully they go and have a look and discover what we've fallen in love with all these years. So
yeah, and I think, I said this, I did a review of The Wrath of Khan recently, and I think for our age group, you got to remember, when we watched The Wrath of Khan, there was no search for Spock. So we didn't know what was going to happen next. Whereas now, obviously, your age group, Dan, there's going to be another film afterwards. So it doesn't have the same impact. You're looking at it from a different perspective. And this is, like you said, with the remakes, it's a clever, well, not necessarily remakes, but reimaginings. It's a clever way of getting a new audience to come into it.
Do you think that? What I think about Star Wars, that really 3 films, the 3 original trilogies, that should have been it. I know that might be controversial if you're a real Star Wars fan, you want to see everything. But for me, the 3 films just fitted together. You didn't need anything else after that, after those 3 films. And but I do understand there's an appetite and a need for money. People want more stories, they want more. But for me, I would be very happy just have those 3. That was it.
Well, George originally wrote a 9-part story, but just happened to start on the 4th part. So he always wanted to. If he'd started at the Phantom Menace or whatever the original conception was, would it have taken off? I think, and I don't just mean the fact that he started episode 4 and everyone's going to the cinema going, what do you mean episode 4? And I know that was actually initially when it was first released in 1977, it was just said Star Wars, didn't it? No New Hope or anything. But when he introduced A New Hope, and it became episode 4, and people were like, hang on, what's going on here? So he sort of shot himself in the foot, especially as he took so long to be able to make the first three, and then not losing out, but passing it on to Disney to sort of do what they've done with the last three. If he'd managed to do it all in one go, I think we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know, I think we'd be like, yeah, this is a brilliant story, but it would be interesting to read his original concept, all 9 parts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you say, I mean, I think a lot of the fans are very disappointed with the sequel trilogy. And I agree with AJ says that whilst, what's the second one called? Forgotten what it's called.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. It was brave. It did something different. You've got to give the director the balls for doing it, but it didn't work. But at least it's not like the first film and the third film. I mean, the third film, well, what were they thinking? It just, just went off on a different tangent completely. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to find out what Lucas had originally for that 9 films, what that story was, those 3 sequels. Whether we'll find out, who knows?
I just don't understand why you would go in and make a film trilogy like that. I'm talking about the last 3 that we got without having any roadmap as to where your story's going. And just see what the first one does. Then here you go. Here's the second one. Take it whatever direction you want. Third one, do whatever you want. Is that the way to handle Star Wars? No, it's not.
It's frustrating.
You should have known that beginning, middle, and end before you even started and worked something out.
Absolutely.
But I agree that had Thingy ended, had the Rise of Skywalker ended with Rey turning to the dark side and actually being a Sith, and it ending there on a cliffhanger would have elevated it to something else, to another level. I'm not saying it'd been good, but I'm saying it would have elevated it to a more of a.
It kept the interest there, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Rather than wrapping it all up in a nice bow.
Well, I think that ending was actually pretty clever, because all through the films we heard about this chosen one, the one that brings balance to the Force. Now, obviously, balance means an equal of both sides. That's what she turned out to be. She is that balance. It wasn't Luke. It wasn't Anakin.
That's fair comment, actually.
Yeah, you get to Rey, and because we see her dark side, and obviously we see on the destroyed Death Star when she. That's a brilliant scene, that is. But she is that balance. She's the one that the Force prophesized, and I actually thought it was clever. I guess that's what I took out of it. I know a lot of people were disappointed, and the whole mess up with the Last Jedi and just changing director. But what I did like, I don't know if you've read any of the expanded universe novels, which first introduced like Grand Admiral Thrawn and all those characters. I got like 50 of them, and I read most of them. And when I found out they were ignoring them, I was like, oh, hang on. We've just carried on reading, because the first one literally leaves or starts where Return of the Jedi ends. So you literally just carry on the story. So I spent years going down that route, only to find these new films completely ignore it, until The Rise of Skywalker, where they started to bring in some of those elements. And obviously they've been able to do it in the series, like Star Wars Rebels as well. So some directors, I think even in Rogue One, he's brought in elements because he's a big Star Wars fan, so he knows the same novels I'm talking about, and has brought elements of those in. But unless you've read the books, you don't know them. So you got no connection outside of what you're seeing on the screen.
So I've read some of the Timothy Zahn stuff.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
Dark Empire, was it? Is it? No, Heir to the Empire. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've read those. What he done with them, they were very good.
There. Yeah.
But I kind of avoided a lot of the expanded universe stuff. It's just so much of it.
Yeah, I mean there is. Some of them I found they were really hard to read. I'm not the best reader in the world anyway, but it was actually buying my first few novels that got me reading. You had the whole X-Wing. There's 9 books, X-Wing series. Some of which they were talking about an X-Wing series, and I think they were going to sort of base it around those books. You had Tales from Jabba's Palace. You had Tales from the Bounty Hunters, and the Jabba's Palace ones take all the characters that you see in the background and give them backstories, and they lead right up to the point in Return of the Jedi. And it's great to have an expanded. Of course, you can use your own imagination as to what things look like, and but seeing a couple of the things realized in film was kind of cool. Yeah.
Cool.
That Rogue Squadron, sounds like that's been canned now, isn't it? Because they, what was the director?
Jenkins.
Yeah, she did that
Jenkins.
promo, didn't she? But that all seems to have got canned.
I think they messed her around too much. Because that trailer really got me excited.
Yeah, it was good. It was
a great trailer, but yeah. Just
to be fair, I don't think Patty Jenkins was the right choice anyway. She kind of struck gold with Wonder Woman, and I think was it Monster? She'd done before that, the Charlize Theron movie, and she won, or the film won an Oscar, I know, and then she was elevated, and she'd been given Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, it dropped the ball in the third act, and then she completely dropped the ball with Wonder Woman 84. So I'm quite glad to see. I wasn't happy that she'd been given a Star Wars. Let's just say that I didn't think that she was the right person for that.
I think they're a little afraid of maybe doing any films at the moment, so they're just focusing on the TV stuff, aren't they? Because I don't think there's any plans for any films sort of in the next 5 years. I don't know.
I'd like to see another film.
Yeah, go on.
There's like older Star Wars lore that I'd love to see. There's a few games that I've played related around. I don't know if you guys have played like any of the Old Republic games. Nothing like that. There's ones that's like years before the Phantom Menace, and they revolve around some old like Sith characters back then. And it'd be cool if they'd done something like that. I think. Like a sort of an older Star Wars lore movie or something, bring in some older characters.
That probably would be the best route to take, because it's be totally removed from the Skywalker saga. It's nice that they're doing these series Andor and Obi-Wan around the Skywalker saga to just give us more, those of us who want more. But yeah, I think you're right, Dan, that if they did go back and do that, they could explore whatever they wanted, couldn't they?
There's so
hopefully
much
they wouldn't annoy you.
Well.
Sorry?
There's just so much as well that they haven't even touched. Like, there's a wealth of like content that they could use, but they just don't touch it.
Isn't the gap like 4,000 years?
Yeah, it's huge. It's like a huge gap in between, like from when the Phantom Menace and those sort of older characters. There's like a Sith Lord called Revan. I know you might have heard him if you've read the books, maybe. Might turn up there, but he seems like a cool character. You might have to search that one up.
I'm just going to get to the comments because we've only got 15 minutes left. So if we can just run through the comments just to get up to date. Pete says, have you seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix? A lot of positive buzz. I've not heard of it. Anyone else?
No.
I played the
Not heard of it.
Played the game a little bit because there's a game. It's like I guess it's based off the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Danny says he went to see Bond in Motion in London years ago. Yeah, I've been to that, to the Peak District. That was really good. I got to see the original Lara Croft set in New York. Cool.
Awesome.
And says Mr. In Between was an awesome show. I don't know that one. Anyone know that?
It was good, Stephen. It was a good show. I watched all 3 seasons of that one. It was good.
It's up to AJ. What releases are missing from Blu-ray? Oh, a lot. The Abyss.
Too many to mention.
Just want 4K now with that. Let's just miss out the Blu-ray. Someone talk about Hypercube. I don't know.
No idea.
It's talking about the Cube series, I think.
Okay.
It's like a horror movie sort of franchise, and they're kind of like escape room type esque movies. They're a bit like that.
The Cube movie's great. I want to see the sequel. Is this based off of that? Is it?
Yeah. So there's Cube, there's Hypercube, and then there's Cube Zero. Yeah.
Okay. Cora says, thanks, AJ. The German Blu-ray of RoboCop series is €9.99. That sounds quite reasonable. That's probably about £7 or £8, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not bad for a series on Blu-ray.
Mm.
Dune is the best space movie. Now, do you like the original Dune or the remake? Have you watched either?
I've seen the original, haven't seen the remake yet.
Okay.
When they announced that it was going to be a 2-part, I thought, all right, I'll just wait until the second one's out. So
Sorry about that.
All right. Just a question about Dune. I was just asking everyone, have they seen the original or the remake or both? Or yeah. What about you, Ian? Have you seen either?
Yeah, I've got. I know this. I know AJ don't agree with me, but I really do love the first Dune a lot. I do. I think the second one, the new remake, is in fact, to say it's a remake is perhaps a disservice to it, because it sort of sounds as if it's a great film. I really enjoyed the new one, definitely. But I've got a lot more personal attachment to the very first Dune film, and I know all its weaknesses, but I don't really care. I just love the first one. But I am looking forward to part 2, and I think this has been a great film. The new one definitely is excellent, and I really do enjoy it. So, no. I enjoy both. Yeah.
Right, you Dan.
I had the board game with the original film. It's a very good game, actually.
Dan, have you seen the new Dune, or have you watched the original, or both?
I've seen the new one just recently. I probably have a bit of a hot take. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it. I think, I mean, I can understand, like, it looks really nice on screen, like cinematically. It looks really nice, beautiful film. But I just thought the characters were a bit emotionless. Like, they just had no substance to them. Yeah, and you can't really, like, connect with them, like, at all. I feel like it's sort of like a bit of a movie based around the looks of it, rather than like what's actually going on, I think.
I think it's a slow moving story, isn't it? I mean, like you say,
it is definitely
it's
slow.
Epic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've not read the books, but I know it's a big book, isn't it? I mean, I think the original plan was to split it over 3 films, but is that now 2 parts it's going to be? I'm not sure. I'm not a big Dune. Yeah.
I saw that. I'm not sure when, but yeah, there is a second part coming out. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, yeah, we know your thoughts on Dune, AJ, don't we?
My reason for disliking the first film is because I was at home, very ill, laid on the sofa, and my dad was watching it, and found it to be extremely boring. And it just brings back memories of that being ill when I think about that film. So my mind goes to that. And I'd never rewatch it again for that reason. But the new one, I really adored. Yeah, I loved it.
Well, it's very clever, the new one.
She's got to get water.
Yeah. I think the newer Star Wars are much better than the old ones. Oh, that's interesting. You prefer the newer ones. Again, I think it comes down to maybe what age group you are. You know, younger people may prefer the prequel series because they grew up with it.
That's me.
Is that you? You prefer
That's
the prequel?
me. Yeah, well, maybe not really so much like the Phantom Menace.
Right.
I do have a soft spot. And Phantom Menace is probably like my least revisited. I do have a soft spot for the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, for sure. Even though I probably feel like that one's probably not the strongest out of the three of the prequels. But I love Revenge of the Sith. That's my favorite Star Wars film. Revenge of the
I
Sith.
did enjoy it. Certainly the ending of it was fantastic.
I thought Revenge of the Sith was really dark. When he has that dream sequence, I was in the cinema going, okay, it's going this way.
I did like Rogue One. I thought that was done very well. That's probably my favourite of the newer films, certainly. But yeah,
in some ways, I look at Rogue One and think, would it be as good as it is if not for A New Hope? The fact we know where it's going and they link it so well, I think that's I love it. I think it's a brilliant film. But I do wonder how much of that is because of what it's going into.
I feel like it's pretty good. Like even as like a standalone film, I feel like without knowing about The New Hope, I think it'd be a good film. I enjoyed it a lot. I revisited it like recently because of the Andor. I really liked it. It's just really good. It's a good movie, that one. Yeah.
The only thing I wish they'd do with Rogue One is just that little scene at the end with Leia. If they could get that, what they did with the Book of Boba Fett with Luke Skywalker, to get that deep fake, because it's just so much better than the CGI. You know, if they could do that, that would be great to tinker with. Get Leia looking, well, you know, as she was.
Yeah,
and then it'd be yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
It does look a bit weird. It doesn't. It doesn't look natural.
And the Grand Moff Tarkin as well. Although the actor that plays, you know, they've done the CGI bit on. He has a look of him. He's an English actor. But again, if they did the deep fake on both those scenes, it would just make it just that little bit better. Because that stuff on Boba Fett, those last few episodes, I thought were fantastic. I love that. I thought it was really good.
I enjoyed watching reaction videos of that, and people suddenly realizing what they're seeing when they see the X-Wings. Like, really? Oh, wow. That was great to see. But
it was just superb.
We keep moaning about George Lucas fixing things in the original series. So do we really want them to go back and fix those things just because we know they can? I mean, it's a tough one because the time constraints and the budgets and everything, and the fact that the last scene in Rogue One nearly didn't happen. It was a last minute thing, so I imagine that's why it doesn't look quite as good as it could do. And I've kind of learned to watch them with rose tinted glasses and go, well, I know who that is, and that's fine with me. We know they can't de-age Carrie Fisher, especially now she's not with us anymore, but it does annoy me, but then I think, well, it's filmmaking, what can you do?
You all right, AJ?
I've got a tickle in my throat.
Okay. Well, just to let everyone know, we're going to be finishing in 5 minutes. Try and keep this stream just a couple of hours. because Sunday everyone's got things to do. So yeah, if we don't get to all the comments, do apologise. But as I say, it's kind of on that banner at the bottom there. I think we'll just have a wrap up, really. Anything anyone would like to sort of say to just wrap things up?
No.
Right,
Thank
Well, this has been my first stream.
Yeah, no,
You've
it's
been-
been fun.
Have you enjoyed it? You enjoyed it?
Stream on YouTube. I
Yeah.
have enjoyed it. Yeah, so I really appreciate you inviting me on.
No
Good
problem.
to meet you, Dan, Ian, and
No,
obviously
it was very
know you,
nice
AJ and Matt.
chatting.
So,
Yeah, cool. Well,
I'd
more
be
than
happy
welcome
to do it
come
again
on.
sometime.
Yeah, more than welcome to come along
Yeah,
again.
cool.
I mean, we're all about trying to sort of get smaller channels recognised because YouTube can be quite a tough place. You get a lot of big channels, and us little channels, maybe get forgotten a bit. But no, it's great to sort of have new people on the chat and sort of talking about all sorts of subjects, different genres of film. We're just open to sort of everything, aren't we, AJ? And say next time AJ will do it on his channel and it gives me a rest, and vice versa. So yeah.
Hopefully,
Well, my next video needs to be a bit of a special one because I've just hit over 300 subscribers.
Oh, congratulations!
So thank you very much. That's kind of pretty good. Well, it's very cool actually. Just to think that I'm plugging away as I am, trying not to look too much at the analytics or whatever, and just hope people enjoy my content. And yeah, to sort of break that little mile mark, I think I need to do probably a video of my special editions that I have,
Cool.
and show them off. So keep an eye out for that on my channel if you're interested.
Yeah. Like I say, I think AJ's put links to everyone's channel.
Well, I did put for all three. But I don't think they're a link per se, in that you'd need to copy and paste them into your bars, because they didn't go in as a link. They just went in as you know what I mean. But they are in there, and we're put in the chat. But it might be worthwhile adding your links to the comment section below when the video's properly uploaded, because the chat disappears in that sense. Always do that.
Okay.
Let me apologise for my mate that came in. He's I know other people have had issues with people as well recently, other YouTubers that have made them move on and off of other sites, not YouTube, but other things they were involved with. It's just someone that likes to try and wind me up. And
you know what, AJ? I had a laugh the other day. It was one of your videos about that revolved around COVID, and someone was calling you Dr. AJ. I had a good chuckle.
Right. that would have been the same individual.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That was hilarious.
I've done a COVID video, the effect of COVID on the business of Blu-ray releasing and all this, and how there was nothing to release. The studios fell back onto producing special edition stuff, and someone commented that I'm not, he didn't realise I was a doctor and giving medical advice, but yet there was no medical advice given. It was not about COVID as this is what you do to to get over COVID, or this is what you do if you've got COVID. It was about how COVID affected the industry for that period of time and where we're at now with it. So, I don't know. That was just, that was quite amusing, actually. That's right. And then I started coughing in the video when I spoke about this message, and I started coughing, saying, "Oh, sorry about that." I goes, I might be COVID, and then I went, "Oh, hold on a minute. No, I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't know." It was. I don't know. You get some silly comments, but he seemed he set up twice today, possibly a third time in here. Yeah. So he runs off when he's blocked. He runs off and creates another new YouTube account to then be able to, which is quite sad, really. And this is an adult. This is a grown person doing this.
There we go.
It's quite petty. It really is. But there we go.
Anyway,
what can you do?
We've got a nice comment at the end here from Clark Teddles. He says, "Have a nice day, everyone." So I think that's a great way to end the stream. I say thank you ever so much for everybody for coming on today. Had a great conversation. Some great questions from everybody, and it's really nice to sort of get to know you, Trevor. And obviously we've had Ian and Dan on before. So, and as I say, you're all welcome to come back. On future streams, and let's carry on the conversations. It's great. It's really good. I like live streams because it's great that we all watch each other's videos and comments, but it's so much more you get from this, I feel. Cool.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks ever so much for watching, everybody. And as I say, next time around it'll be back on AJ's channel.
All are welcome. All are welcome.
Yeah, and we'll sort it out at that point. All right. Well, thanks ever so much.
Take care.
Cheerio, everybody. And see you next time.
See you again.
Bye.
Cheers.